and often for God alone. From this promise, this covenant God intends to bring the Savior into the world. Almost 1900 years later, we see almost the same story coming into being. A young girl, a girl who had never had relations, a virgin, becomes the mother of our Savior. Just before that, an old man and his wife goes through the same story that Abraham and Sarah go through as they bring John the Baptist into the world. God has promised to bring a Savior to the world, and for almost 2,000 years the people looked and waited, and some laughed, as Sarah did, that it could not possibly come true. It is nearly 2,000 years after that now, and the people are doing what Sarah did when she laughed about giving birth. We wait, but many have given up, and they say to us that it can't possibly happen. But just the time when it seems impossible, God works His miracle. Is anything too hard for God to do? We're running around in this day and age desperately trying to undo everything we have been taught about the Scriptures and what is pleasing to God, or what is required or not pleasing to God. We must re-engineer definitions and meanings so that we can do what Sarah did when she gave Abraham her handmaiden Hagar. Let me reinterpret what God said. Let me make it fit for today. That's what Sarah did. She was too old, so she thought she had to help God along. That's an interesting story about how having to help God along. Reminds me of the story of the anvil salesman. You know, anvils, big, heavy anvils they used to make horseshoes and plows and everything. And so there was the anvil salesman in San Francisco. And you know, San Francisco has the big hills all over the place. And even though San Francisco has the hills, they had trolley cars back in those days. And the old traveling salesmen, they had to go around with the stuff that they were selling. They didn't sell stuff out of a catalog. They opened up their traveling sales case, and they showed you what it was that they had to sell, and it was right there. So this big traveling salesman, you know, with big heavy anvils and two bags, one on each side, gets to the bottom of the trolley car, and the trolley car pulls up, and he sees this little burro in the front, this big, long trolley car, and it was full of people, and the conductor says, "Jump on!" And he looks at the little burro again, and looks at that big, long trolley car and all the people there, and he felt the weight of his bags, and he says, "No, that's all right, I'll catch the next one." So he went on. The next one comes by, and it's the same thing. It's a little burro pulling there, because that's what they used before. They had engines, and they would pull them up with the little burros, and they had this burro pulling up the trolley car. And he looks, and the conductor says, "Come on, get on, it's time to get on." And he looks at all the people and the big, long trolley car and his heavy bags that he's got, and he says, "No, that's all right, maybe I'll just walk up to the top." And the conductor says, "No, get on, we'll be fine." So he gets onto the trolley car, and he finally gets there, and he looks at all the people that are there in this big trolley car and his heavy bags that he has, and he decides that he's not gonna set them down, because there would be an increased burden. He's going to help the donkey along, carry it up. So he gets on the trolley car, and he has his bags, and it starts to put them down, but he picks them up and he holds them all the way to the top of the hill, gets off. The reality was that little burro pulled all of that weight, whether he set them down or not. And the problem is that we do the same thing when we come to God. We don't set our baggage down. We don't turn things over to God. Sarah did not turn this over to God. She wanted to carry the baggage, and so she felt she had to help God along, just like the salesman did. We have to understand about God. Most of what I try to do is teach people how to have a good relationship with God. So we turn to 1 Kings chapter 13 to understand something here. 1 Kings chapter 13. "And behold, there came a man of God out of Judah by the word of the Lord unto Bethel. And Jeroboam stood by the altar to burn incense. And he cried against the altar. This is the prophet. Cried against the altar in the word of the Lord, and said, O altar, altar, thus saith the Lord, behold, a child shall be born into the house of David, Josiah by name, and upon thee shall he offer the priest of the high places that burn incense upon thee, and men's bones shall be burnt upon thee. And he gave a sign the same day, saying, This is the sign which the Lord hath spoken. Behold, the altar shall be rent, and the ashes that are upon it shall be poured out. And it came to pass, when King Jeroboam heard the saying of the man of God, which he cried against the altar in Bethel, and he put forth Jeroboam put forth his hand from the altar, saying, Lay hold. He told his guards to lay hold of the high priest, or this priest, not high priest, but the prophet. And his hand, which he put forth, dried up. It shriveled up, and it was paralyzed, and he could not pull it back. The altar also was rent, and the ashes poured out from the altar, according to the sign which the man of God had given by the word of the Lord. And the king answered and said unto the man of God, Entreat now the face of the Lord thy God, and pray for me, that my hand may be restored me again. And the man of God besought the Lord, and the king's hand was restored him again, and became as it was before. And the king said unto the man of God, Come home with me, and refresh thyself, and I will give thee a reward. And the man of God said unto the king, If thou wilt give me half thine house, I will not go in with thee, neither will I eat bread nor drink water in this place, for so was it charged me by the word of the Lord, saying, Eat no bread, nor drink water, nor turn again by the same way that thou camest. So he went another way, and returned not by the way that he came to Bethel. Now there dwelt an old prophet in Bethel, and his sons came and told him all the works that the man of God had done that day in Bethel. The words which he had spoken unto the king, them they also told to their father. And their father said to them, What way went he? And went after the man of God, and found him sitting under an oak. And he said unto him, Art thou the man of God that camest from Judah? And he said, I am. Then he said unto him, Come home with me, and eat bread. And he said, I may not return with thee, nor go in with thee, neither will I eat bread nor drink water with thee in this place. For it was said to me by the word of the Lord, that thou shalt eat no bread nor drink water there, nor turn again to go by the way that thou camest. He said unto him, I am a prophet also as thou art. And an angel came and spake unto me by the word of the Lord, saying, Bring him back with thee into this thine house, and he may eat bread and drink water. But he had lied to him.